Welcome back to the Marketing Digital Arm podcast. I'm your host, Jus Capstana, and today we're covering why your big audience isn't buying and the silent leak in your digital strategy. Have you ever looked at your follow count, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, and thought, why doesn't this audience translate into sales? You're not alone. I've sat across the table from founders, CEOs, and even well-founded startups who whisper the same thing. We have the reach, but the revenue doesn't match. So it's almost like the parable of the fig tree in the Bible. Lush with leaves, promising fruit, but when you get closer, there's nothing there. Looks impressive, feels like it should sustain you, but in reality, it's empty. Today we're going to uncover that silent fault line, why an audience can be large yet hollow, and the unseen formula to transform it into true demand, true buyers, true growth. And I will warn you now, this isn't about social media hacks. This is about strategy at the level of systems. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let's begin with the first simplest questions. What is it? What is a big audience that doesn't buy? So a big audience that doesn't buy is like a massive dam holding water, but with cracks in the wall. It looks powerful, but the force isn't directed. It's a group of people who know your brand name, interact with your posters, maybe even enjoy your content, but they're not positioned, nurtured, or compelled to act. They sit in three layers. First, spectators, people who see, like, and scroll. Second, supporters, those who cheer you on, share, maybe comment. And third, silent buyers in waiting, those who could be customers, but the bridge hasn't been built. Here's the critical truth: a follower is not a prospect. A prospect is not yet a buyer, and a buyer is not automatically a client. And yet, so many founders collapse these categories into one. They look at 50,000 followers and assume equals a pipeline. It doesn't. So let's push deeper. Where do people confuse this? Where do founders confuse audience, clients, prospects, buyers? This confusion is the root of wasted millions. Founders confuse audience with buyers. If they follow, they will buy. Prospects with clients. If they book a call, they will commit it. They are committed. Visibility with demand. If people know us, surely they will come. Let me give you a fictionalized case. The tech size with 200k followers, a size platform for small retailers. They had built an incredible TikTok presence, 200,000 followers, viral videos, high engagement. The boards expected conversions to follow, but revenue plateaued at 1.2 million RRR. Why? Because they followers were young entrepreneurs dreaming about starting retail businesses, not established retailers with budgets. The audience was aspirational, not aligned with the product's actual buyers. The CEO kept saying, "We are everywhere." Why isn't it working? Because everywhere doesn't equal targeted. So it's like inviting thousands to a wedding feast, but the invitations went to people in another country. The hall is empty, no matter how long the guest list looks. This is the first silent leak. Wrong audience, wrong assumptions. So what happens if you ignore it? Let's face it, many do ignore it. They keep chasing growth for growth's sake. Right. But what happens? No conversions. The team burns out, trying harder with less return. Burnt ads spent, ads targeted to the wrong pool, strategic shallowness, teams default to vanity metrics, likes, reach, impressions, founder despair we've built influence, but influence isn't paying the bills. So ignoring this is like ignoring a crack in the foundations of your house. You can decorate the rooms, you can paint the walls, but one day it collapses. Let me anchor this with another enterprise story. The health brand with 1 million followers. So they had 1 million Instagram followers. They hired influencers, ran giveaways, and had constant buzz. But in their financials, losses every quarter. Why? Because the audience wanted lifestyle inspiration, not actual supplements. So their content entertained, it didn't convert. When they ignored it, they went into panic mode. Cut prices, more ads, fires, sales, but the leak remained. Wrong expectation from the wrong pool. So this is the invisible cost of ignoring the gap. You build an echo chamber, not an engine. So let's talk about the pillars of transformation, right? So how do you turn a non-buying audience into a pipeline that converts? So here are the 5 unseen pillars. Segmentation beyond demographics, so not just age, gender or location, but intent, readiness, and fit. So who actually has the budget, the pain, the need? Number 2, value ladder mapping. Every audience must see a clear path: free, low barrier, premium. If you don't design this, they float aimlessly. So a semi-fictionalized case, a logistics size mapped its audience from free calculators like 99 months to start a 1,000-month enterprise. Conversions is short. Number 3, demand message, not just brand messaging. So brand message says, he is who we are. Demanding messaging says, he is how we solve your breathing problem now. When Jesus spoke in parables, it wasn't abstract philosophy. It connects to people, lived pain, farming, debts, family struggles. Your marketing must do the same. Number 4, systemize nurture. So most founders underestimate time to conversion. So they expect instant wins, but buyers often need 7-12 touches. So without a system, they drift away. I'll give you something to reflect. How many touch points does your funnel really provide? Number 5, conversion architecture. So this is the structure behind the message. CTAs, offers, pricing, design. It's the difference between a sermon that inspires but doesn't convert and one that compels action. These 5 pillars are not tips, right? They are the difference between leaves and fruits. Let me pause and turn this back to you. What is your real audience right now? Spectators, supporters, or silent buyers in waiting? Where have you confused followers with clients? What cracks might exist in your foundation, unseen but dangerous? Which of the 5 pillars do you need to design first? Take a moment, write it down, because what you ignore today will cost you tomorrow. I'll give you one more fictionalized enterprise example. Turnaround. Global manufacturing supplier. They had 500,000 LinkedIn followers. Their post went viral within the industry. A actual revenue pipeline was stagnant. So they hired me to dissect the leak. We found 70% of followers were students and early career engineers. The messaging was thought leadership heavy, light on demand signs, no value ladder beyond white papers. We rebuilt with the 5 pillar segmentations, demand messaging, nurtured with 12 months, conversions from LinkedIn doubled, and enterprise deal size grew 30%. What changed? Not the size of the audience, but the system behind it. So far today, I've learned a big audience doesn't equal buyers. The difference between audience prospects, buyers, and clients. The hidden cost of ignoring the leaks. And the 5 and 6 pillars to transform vanity metrics into pipeline, real-world enterprise level turnarounds. And now we are starting to see the system exist. You don't have to suffer with random tactics. You don't. But this is only part 1, right? Part 2, we're going deeper into specific frameworks. How to diagnose your own leaks, how to rebuild conversion architecture, and how to ensure your influence is not leaves only, but lasting fruit. Because the next questions we will ask is this: what happens if you rebuild on a true foundation? In part 1, we uncovered the problem, why large audiences so often don't convert, where founders confuse visibility with buyers, and the 5 unseen pillars to transform vanity into demand. But here's the truth. Knowing what's wrong is only half the journey. The real transformation comes when you rebuild on a true foundation. So now we're going to ask the harder questions, right? How do you diagnose your own leaks with precision? What frameworks can build your conversion architecture? And what shifts must you make to ensure your influence bears fruit, not just lives? Let's move from awareness to action. Diagnosing the silent leak. Let's talk about it. So the first step to repair is always diagnosis. Think of it like the story of Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem walls before construction began. He walked the perimeter at night, examining every broken gate, every fallen stone, quietly, methodically. Only then did he rally the builders. In the same way, you must examine your digital walls. Where is the audience slipping through? There are 3 diagnostic questions I always begin with. First, audience fit. Who actually makes up your following? Do you have data beyond vanity metrics? Number 2, message, market resonance. Does your messaging address breathing pains, or is it just telling your story? Number 3, conversion and infrastructure. So if someone is interested today, is there a frictionalized path to act? I'll give you a same fictionalized case. A professional education company had 300,000 YouTube subscribers, but only 1% of them were professionals who could afford the 10K program. So the rest, students watching for free. The leak wasn't content quality, it was audience fit. So What percentage of your audience can actually pay right now for what you sell? That's often the first shock. So let's talk about a bit of framework, the audience pyramid. So once you have diagnosed, you need a framework. The first is what I call the audience pyramid. So at the base, followers, large, wide, shallow. So next, engagers, those who comment, share, click. Then leads, people who sign, readiness, downloads, inquiries, even event sign-ups. So top, buyers, those who transact, peak, clients, those who stay, expand, and advocate. So most founders stare only at the base and assume width equals height. But in reality, each layer needs a bridge. So ask yourself, what percentage of my base is moving upwards week by week? So I'll give you a semi-fictionalized case. A travel startup had 80K Instagram followers. They introduced a clear bridge, free destination guides, followers, engager, low-cost webinars, $29, engager, lead, mid-tier package, $499, lead buyer, long-term travel concierge, 5K year buyer client. Within 6 months, they conversion rate has doubled, and not because the base grew, but because the bridges were built. So this is what your pyramid must look like: intentional bridges, not accidental gaps. Bit of demand architecture framework. So the second framework is demand architecture. Think of Solomon's temple, designed with precision, every chamber serving a function. It wasn't random, it was ordered. So your digital system must have the same architecture intent. So there are 4 chambers: attention gate, adds organic visibility, brings them in. So second, resonance hall, messaging that speaks direct to the pain, not just who you are, but why it matters now. And third, decision altar, so offers extra third for clarity. One next step, not 5. Expansion core, a system for upselling, cross-selling, and referrals as a number 4. So most companies overbuild the gate, underbuild the altar, endless energy on awareness, but no design for decisions. So another semi-fictionalized case, a mid-sized property development firm run massive awareness campaigns, drone footage, luxury branding, millions in spend, but conversions stalled. Why? The altar was buried, had to navigate websites, vague CTIs, confusing offers. So once we redesign it, the decision altar with a simple book a private consultations as CTA, conversions from campaigns tripled in 90 days. So the architecture matters more than the decoration. So here's another truth: one touch rarely converts. Most buyers need 7, 12 quality interactions before committing. I call this the system of 7s. So every lead must experience 1. A problem awareness touch, 2. A value insight, 3. A credibility proof, 4. A story that resonates, 5. A lower barrier interaction. 6. A direct call to act. 7. A follow-up reminder. So without this rhythm, even qualified buyers drift away. It's like Israel cycling Jericho 7 times before the walls fell. Repetition with purpose breaks resistance. So do you have a systemized rhythm of thoughts, or do you leave it to chance? What happened if you rebuild? Yeah, so what happened when you actually rebuild on these foundations? Conversions rise without more followers, pipeline becomes predictable, revenue stops younging, the founder moves from reactive to strategic. And another same fictionalized case, a logistics site with 40K LinkedIn followers. By applying these frameworks, they grew enterprise ARR by 3 million in 18 months without growing followers because they stopped leaking. They started architecturing. So this is the unseen gift. You don't need to add more noise. You need to steward what you already have. It's about time. So let's pause again. Ask yourself, where is my pyramid leaking right now? Which chamber of my demand architecture is underbuilt? How many touches does my system truly provide? Is it 7 or is it 1? What fruit could be waiting if I rebuild this foundation? Take this seriously, because ignoring it is not just wasteful, it's dangerous. This is the moment I want to leave with you. You might feel you have been laboring endlessly, posting, publishing, running campaigns, yet the fruit isn't matching the leaves. But hear this, the system exists, I promise. You don't have to keep burning resources in randomness. Like the manna that fell daily in the wilderness, there is provision, but it must be gathered in order. I have built it, I ran it, it works. Your audience can become your revenue, but only if you choose to steward it with extractor. Today, so across part 1 and part 2, we have covered the silent leak in your digital ecosystem, the difference between audience, prospect, buyers, and clients, the cost of ignoring the gap, the 5 unseen pillars to transform reach into revenue, the audience pyramid, the demand architecture, and the system of 7 enterprise level cases of failure and turnarounds, and mostly importantly, the truth that you don't need more followers, you need a foundation that converts. Next time we are diving even deeper into the into the mechanics of performance. So we might be talking about from funnel fatigue to flow, how to build a system that scales without breaking you. So if you have ever felt exhausted by funnels that need constant fixing, episode 3 will show you how to create a system that doesn't just scale revenue, it scales peace of mind. So because true growth is not chaos, right? It's clarity. And clarity is what we build here. All right, so this was Marketing Digital Podcast. One more episode, and I'll see you next. Keep building, keep growing.